Hi, I'm a few minutes early. I just kind of wanted to make sure everything was working. I opened up my program earlier and bits and pieces of it were missing, so I had to get them reestablished by tech support and just making sure everything's working. So, today I decided to do something sort of like I do in a more normal form of reading, not just showing the garden, but in just reading cards, which is where I started with tarot. And I'll mention this now and then I'll wrap up with it at the end. Hi, happy day. I'm fine. How you doing? As I just started to explain happy day, I opened up a little bit early, like 2 minutes early, because I wanted to make sure everything was working because I turned it on this morning and pieces were missing and I had to get them reestablished by tech support. So one of the ways that I'm going to read, sort of like I read before, this is my favorite deck of tarot cards, and they're called the Inner Child. And I've had these cards for over 35 years. And the couple who did the cards changed each of the cards into a fairy tale. And the Guardian of Cups is like the King of Cups in this deck. That would be her role. But it is actually the Archangel Gabriel. And when Gabriel appears in your reading, hear the call of spiritual rebirth. Watch your dreams for inspiring symbols and stories that ask you to awaken to a higher life. Be compassionate to those individuals who seem more vulnerable and down on their luck. You can be a teacher who teaches through your words, songs, and gentle touch how to heal and love others. Build a rainbow bridge of trust, understanding with your friends around the world. And so that's kind of where I am today about dealing with the garden. I threw some stones earlier when I set up. I said, okay, what are we going to be looking at today? And since it was like, what's the message? I went to spirit, and the spirit's in earth, and it's also says in the place of false. But when you read that on the cheat sheet, by being in earth, it says that spirit's not finished transmuting yet. And I know that's true because, like I said, these are sessions I use to learn how to work with the garden more effectively myself. And when spirit falls into false, it's there. Okay, when spirit falls into false, it says spirit's just not aligned yet with the situation. And that's true. I brought these things in, I've been told how to make them work, but I'm really kind of learning for it. And then what I got from my body and how I embody and work with this, I'm learning from both my past and where my emotions are right now. My mind is between water and air, water being the more emotional side and air being the thought side, but my values are in how things work out in my mind. Patty, I'll answer your question in a second. And this is clarification. And clarification says, no matter how, these things are just telling me I have to learn more, I'm just learning, but to go for it. So that was my clarification. Patty asked if her daughter would get, okay, I'm going to do the situation around your daughter and her children. Okay. I'll do the situation around it. Well, I can tell you Spirit flat went off the board. Spirit's not in love with the situation that's going on around her. This is going to be, unfortunately for her, a learning situation. I don't think it's going to be a situation she can turn around because her body is coming straight out of the path. Her values are mired in what's happened in the past and sort of being stuck in something going forward. When she can come to terms with her own emotions, and I know reading what you're telling me just happened, it's going to be very, very difficult. Having gone through a long, drawn-out custody battle myself, I understand how horrifying it is when your life's in the courts and no one's listening to you. But let's see. I'm going to pull a flower card for her for inspiration because I don't know how to ask the stones to be gentle, so we're going to try this. Okay. So it's communication is going to be the key for her healing from this, and it's going to be she needs to listen and speak with greater care. I don't know what happened in her life that led her to the point that that happened, Patty. I'm so sorry. But her lesson from this is how she communicates. And as children get older, they can come find you. I've had some friends who've done that, and I have no idea what the ages of the children are or whether there were people she knew involved in it. But I'll light a candle for her tonight because I know the pain she's in. Oh, happy day. Okay, job situation. And she put the right word in. She capitalized the word situation. Happy day's job situation. Okay. You have some insights. You know where this job situation's going. It shows spirit and your body are moving in the right direction. Your minds, your values are in the right direction. The problem is you're limiting yourself. The mind being in fire, which is old thoughts, prior parts of this life or past lives, and your mental energy's there. I really, really believe that your mental, and I'm going to even go to the cheat sheet. Yeah, it says, do not become tied with the false energies of the past. Look beyond just the most obvious job situations and try and find some other ones. And because your spirit and your body are getting aligned, and that's really important. That means that your feelings and how you feel things are becoming embodied in your physical being, and that will really help you. And I got somebody who wants to know. Okay. I can see the path of your Reiki full time. I'll see if I get it time, if it's going to be in this year, okay? The situation around Jan T's Reiki work. Okay. Yeah, you've really just finally focused your mental energies on getting to there. You need to work on when pyrites and false. Oh, how you value this and what you think you can get from it needs to be reconsidered. I see clearly, I don't see it heavy in December. I see a lot of work going on, spring, summer, fall, and it leads into winter. So I don't think it'll be clearly early next year at the earliest. But what I really feel about it is you're embodying the right kind of thoughts and things for yourself. But you've got two things here that tell me you need to be seriously rethinking how you're thinking about going out and doing this, whether it's the people you're going to be involved with. Sheila from Inquisitive Tarot. Yes, I just saw your channel too. This is a lot of fun. It's a different way to divine, and you've got the word tarot in it. That's what I did from the age of 12 until. Well, I work with crystals now and other things too. Will my job contract be extended? Okay, let's see. We're going to see the situation around your job contract, Agatha. If the contract's due to be renewed in the fall and the winter, it's definitely going to happen by the way the stones rolled. There's a part of you that, I want it renewed because I want to keep my body together. But there's also a part of you that wants to do something different that's coming out of your past. Most of your energy around this job, the spirit, the clarity, and the values are going to come. You may have a chance to renegotiate in that contract before then, but I see clearly all the action in this is in the future, so I would think it's not going away. Nothing landed really in the past, except I think you're kind of bored with it, and in a way, when you're asking me that question, you're kind of like, please, please, please. A little part of you, Agatha, is saying, please, please, please tell me I can get out of this contract so I can go find something new. You're going to find a new way to deal with it within that contract. Okay, Agatha, go to my website, www.crystaldirections.com, and you can see all the different ways, all the different things we sell. When you get your new board, I'm going to tell you right now, this was the prototype, and a couple things changed. None of the words, none of the basic layout changed, but we brought the 4 elements in smaller, so these were more prominently in the middle. And oh, cool, Angelita. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be doing at least one and probably two shows a week training people with what I learned from doing private readings. I'm starting to do private readings, which is really good because then I don't have to wait for you to type back to me. I get immediate input on how accurate, what my own intuitive feeling is about this. I have a couple of other readers who shall remain nameless who are working with it right now on their own at home, trying to figure out, following the guidelines, trying to see how it works. But I talk with them constantly, and they're constantly giving me great new ideas on how to present materials and how to work with it. And I had one lady who, a week ago, she's an oracle. She's not on YouTube. She's just a private person out there doing that sort of stuff. She had a garden party. She had a bunch of friends over, and they all played with the garden. And she thought it was she sent me some notes. It was really interesting how that worked out. So, is there anything else I can answer for anyone else or let them know about? Yeah, I mean, it's not I'm working on the materials that get included with the game, with the board and how it works. What I'm going to try and do though is, it's on the can. I don't know if I've shown you. This is how you get it. You get it in this little tube. It's not a can, it's a tube. If you scan that code, it will take you to a spot in my website where all of the paperwork and all the material is about working with it. And as I improve and change things, that will be available to anyone who has the game. You just scan it, and then you don't have to carry around all the paperwork if you're not into memorizing matrix sheets. Although a lot of it's just flat understanding. Now, for people who are new here, I am taking personal questions if you put them up, but I thought I'd spend a little time today explaining what it says on the board. And on the outer ring of the board are the chakras, and it's root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, and then the tree of life. And I've always viewed the tree of life as where we harmoniously bring all those elements together. And then in the words, these are words that are kind of keywords to tell you how to frame when that rock falls there. And I have go for it, true, future, present, path forward, false, restate, and past. And restate, I'll explain that. And then in the middle I put earth, fire, water, and air. And it's north. Air is north, earth is east, the south is fire, and the west is water. In the shamanic tradition. And the reason I wanted this in the middle, I knew when I saw the garden that this is kind of like the fountain of the garden. And it goes back to a prayer I've had since I was at summer camp. And it's to the left of me, to the right of me, in front and in back of me, above and below, Lord, protect us. I went to a Christian camp. And one of my favorite crystals in the world is fluorites, and they make a perfect octahedron. And if you think about that form, to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, to the north, the south, if you build those all up, it creates an octahedron around you. And so I wanted that safety in the middle. I have stones on the outside. We don't roll. They are the energies, water, air, earth, and fire. And they come, because they all kind of look alike. I didn't realize this when I sent them out because I know what they all look like. But other people can't tell a white rock from a white rock. Imagine that. So we're going to have all these are going to be color-coded, so you'll know which is earth, wind, air, and fire. And then when you first get your stones, these, as you use them, especially the sodalite, it gets much bluer and much shinier, and it takes on your energy. But when you first get them, I had some people who can't. Now, fuchsite is a very different stone, and I explain what it looks like. It's all sparkly. It's a fairy stone. It's got glitters on it. It's got mica in it. Some people couldn't tell those apart. And I mean, when I talk to some people, I'm talking about readers. They couldn't tell them apart. So when you get your stones in our final version that's going to be going out this week, those are color coded with just a tiny little dot so you can tell which one's which one. That dot will wear off, and by the time you've rolled them enough to wear the dot off, you'll know what you're working with. Do I have any other specific questions about the garden? I think I went over a little bit yesterday, and I don't want to repeat it myself too much, but I woke up one day in February and I had a very clear message that I've been toying with the idea, how could I get people to coordinate crystals with cards, with, and kind of work with them both. Because I had a lot of people who said, I'd love to learn how to make crystal grids. I'd love to learn how to do these things. And I woke up in the middle of February and I saw this. I saw the idea there's a garden, and what I really started with was the words around here. Now they've changed somewhat because as I looked at it, I went, no, that's not what I really meant. Restate was the last one I changed, and it's because it wasn't false, just means you may not be seeing it from all aspects. But whatever word I had in there basically said, your mind is messed. So I said, no, it's not. And I said, what do I mean? And what it means is when things hit in restate, it means you need to really look at how you're asking the question, how you're framing the situation, and how you can, Sam, you don't want to hear about my political career, and how you can move forward. And speaking of moving forward, Sam, no, I'll answer that in a second. Oh, what's going on around your daughter's 40th birthday? Yay, Patty. Is today her 40th birthday? Oh my God, no. Oh, today is her 40th birthday. Okay. Well, she's got a lot of power. She can have a lot of power in her body when she clears up her own thoughts. She tends to spiritually stay in the past. And at 40, she's probably, if she's like most 40 years old, she's really considering a lot of how things have happened around her. And the things that are changing for her are her values and her mental state. Her, let me tell you what it says. The mind's in earth. Finalizing thoughts are coming, and she's going to move into a new period of that. And the other part that's happening for her on earth is more is being brought forward. So she's really she's doing a lot of 40-year-olds do. She's really thinking things through. I think she's going to have a good time. She really, when you get out in the chakras, the key word to the solar plexus is power. She's beginning to understand her own personal power, and it's being clarified for her in her thoughts. But she needs to get her spirit out of the past and waiting for those things to change. Because when your spirit's in the past, she's probably missed how much transformation is happening around her, and she needs to let go and allow herself to be transformed. She's got a lot of dynamic in the lower part saying moving forward. So we said, oh. Here you take it, Mike. Oh, let's see. I can read about Terry. Is Terry going to get a new job offer? Terry and I have talked before, and I told her she had great changes coming towards her. She's in a truly, truly transitional part of her life. But, ooh, everything's in there. Okay, new job offer. You don't want to change. You want to stay where you are because you know how to do what's there, but your mind and your spirit are going to be ready to go. Your thoughts are going to be aligned properly. Clarity is going to come in the really near future. And the values being in Earth means new ways of seeing your values are coming towards you. So, yeah, I think you're going to get offered something. I'm just stopping because I want to make sure I'm seeing everything as clearly as I can. I'm going to do one stone but I'm going to use the clarification. This is called a one and done reading. And I just interpret what that is. This is about new job coming. Ended up in water again, and for one and done with clarification in water, you have the clarity you need. Follow on those paths. You will find positive resolution. So I realize my cheat sheet reads like a fortune cookie, but that's not me. The guides told me what to write. I don't write fortune cookie phrases. Okay, yeah, Angelita, I'll put them all on a playlist. I'm just sort of learning YouTube to understand how to do that. Okay, the person who wants to know about me in politics, I got out of politics because I definitely understood that's a 3D activity for me, because I was a political consultant and I had to work with people and convince, I worked with good people. I worked with liberals. I worked with more progressive, because in Texas, liberal is a relative term. But I did run Obama's field program in 2008 for Dallas County. We hit 350,000 doors. I was very proud of that. And if I do ever talk about politics again, what I want to talk about is how each of us as an individual has a responsibility to be out there understanding, knowing, and making our thoughts known. Too many people I met in politics would come up to me and say, "You fix it. You make it work." And that's not really the best way to have the system work. As you saw in the last election, when more people vote, we get a much better outcome. The other thing is, I would wish that everyone would keep their thoughts about the situations going on around us on the highest vibration. And if you don't, Andrea and I did a show on 3, 4, and 5D, which I think went up last night. And it talks about when you're in 3D, you're in duality. But if you get into 4D, you can stand back and realize both sides have a point. Now, one of them will always feel more right to your soul, and that's the one you have to help people pursue. But the idea that people are going to watch a reader and readers are going to assure them that everything's going to turn out all right, and you're going to sit at home and not lift a finger to make that happen is totally unrealistic, very false, and is actually destructive. Not from the reader's point of view, from your point of view. You have to be responsible. And I've talked to readers about this, like, why do you keep feeding the fear machine? And they tell me that y'all don't like and share their videos unless they're fear-based. So the problem's in our audience. And when I started reading, I told the readers that were close to me I was not going to read politics. And they said, that's crazy, because you know the Constitution, you know the laws, you know all the electoral laws, you know all about what goes into doing that. And I said, yeah, but people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the nitty-gritty. But Allie Martin of Heart and Soul Connected, she and I have talked about teaching a course called Campaigning 101 to take people through all the steps of what goes into a campaign. So as an individual, you can figure out where you might want to tie into it, or even if you want to run, because it's a course I used to give to people to convince them. I actually used to convince more people not to run when I taught my course, because they're like, oh my God, that's like really work. Okay. And thank you, Sam, for asking that question. I was wondering. Okay, Andrea, I can talk a little bit about this because I had no intention to create a divination game. I had no intention of creating the chakra eggs, which, whoop, whoop. On Saturday, I'm meeting with a new fabricator. They'll be back online. I had no intention of working with rocks. I was quite happily reading cards in a wine bar and a vintage store and just enjoying the heck out of my life. And everything got turned upside down, as it did for all of us, and my soul went in a totally different direction. But since I've been mapping my life out, looking for 3D, 4D, and although everybody thinks I want to go to 5D, trust me, I've been there. It's very hard on your body going back and forth. When I started mapping my life out, I realized that my shifts really started in my mid-60s when I got my knees fixed. Up until then, I'd been a pretty 3D person. I was a bitch. I was demanding. I was very self-centered. And I played and ran a lot with a lot of people and just I read cards, and a lot of people thought I was a spiritual person, but compared to where I am now and the peace I have now in myself, I'm a totally different person. So, like I said, when I got told by one of the people I trust on earth about what's going on around us, and I was in the midst of creating the garden and the eggs, a person who deals with soul path things told me, they said, you know, you didn't have to come back, you came back because you wanted to. And she said, you actually have been, you've been through this so many times. You go back to Lumeria, and you could have stayed on the other side, but you come back because you really like people. You're addicted to humanity. That was how they put it. And they had to teach me, because I just really don't like dealing with the masters much. They had to teach me how to go between the different dimensions. And the dizziness and the weird things and the blankness. One thing I think I have kind of figured out in all this is, if you ever talk to readers very long, they will tell you, Andrea, to finish that. Can we renegotiate once we're here? Once we're here, I don't know. I know that the universe pushed me into going to places I had no intention of going. So, and I guess that was a plan I agreed to. I guess it was part of my deal about coming back and being in humanity again. I love humanity. I don't know much about aliens. I don't know much about any of the other entities. I know a lot about guides and spirits. And if you want to read one single book that will help you deal with the spiritual energy that's around us right now, there's a book called Angel Speak, and I have it out because I showed it to someone the other day. Get this book. It's like that thin. You could read this in the time you're listening to me. And it's written by Barbara Mark and Trudy Griswold. They tell you how to deal with angels. This is stuff they channeled in from the angels. When the angel spoke to them, it's in red. When it's their own thoughts or their own conclusions, it's in black. It's probably one of the single best books I know to try and help us through these times. Free will's there because we're not slaves to that pattern. We're not slaves to what the universe tells us to do. I guess, I'm not a slave to the masters. I'm bringing through. Once I started working with this stuff, I realized I really like this. This is fun. I can do this. Is my camera locked? Well, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but my little camera that aims at the board is locked, so this may be a short session, guys. Okay. Michelle, my bell. She lives near me. Yes. If Sam asked, if you have stones you want to throw, and you've got some that are very dear to you, you can throw your own stones on the garden. And then you just have to kind of figure out, well, this stone means this. Now, I know you see me, but I'm waving my hands all over my grid, and it's not showing up. I don't know what's going on down there. The garden is gone fallow for a while. It's fallow. It's not going to do it. You can use your own stones in the garden. I've already channeled stones for different signs of zodiac and different seasons. One of the things, if you're looking at the garden right now, you see it's divided into 4 parts. You can tell time with it. The other thing I do is when I pull it out of the bag, today Earth is is closest to me, and water's at the top, fire's to the west of me, and air is to the east, air is to my right, and fire's to my left. But yesterday, fire was at the bottom. When I lay it out, I just figure that's how the universe wants me to see the garden today. So that's another trick about reading. I can do a reading, but you can't see it. If you want to ask a question quickly, I will do it, but since people can't really see it, that's the reason this is here, and I have no idea what it's doing. So before I disappear too into my into the interwebs. Do you have a question? Going once? Ah. Good. I'm glad you're reading that book, Agatha. You'll get a lot out of it. I just really, when I used to teach tarot, I used to tell people, you need to really read this to understand things. Yep, no readings at this time, so I'm going to say goodbye. Probably one of the quickest goodbyes I've ever done. Thank you for joining me today. I'll have to talk to tech support and see why my camera decided to die and what I can do when I'm on. Make sure. What's your basic throw, Sam? Your throat tightens because your throat chakra is tightening up on you because some part of you, Ronnie, has trouble speaking your own truth. Margelle, I don't think so. I've been around a lot of really crappily run offices, and just my bare instinct tells me no. What energy should be... Okay, I'm going to do a real quick one for Sam because I can do it, and I'll just tell you what it says. What energies should Sam be working on? Okay, thought, you've got spirit and the mind in air, which is thinking. You need to work on, you need to value what you say to people more and not apologize for things after you've said them. Your path forward is through staying in your own body, learning how to ground and stay in your own body. And you have clarity in earth. So clarity is coming towards you, and I think I just told you everything you already knew. You'd already sensed it. Okay, I got one more question I'm going to do for Happy Day because she was the first one in. Let's see if... Guys, I may lose you completely, but someone has suggested refreshing. If I knew how to... Okay. Nope, I just refreshed it. It didn't seem like that. I mean... Let me see, camera too. No, not doing much. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing on this woman's son's master's degree. Okay, situation has a master's degree. Oh dear, okay. Yeah, a whole lot of things are coming to light right now. He's getting a lot of clarity. He should go for it. If he's thinking about changing some things in it, he should go for it. It's the right field for him to be in. He's got the mind and air, and he got the values. He got the pyrite, and go for it. Anyway, I'm going to have to go figure out what's wrong with all this. Thank you so much for helping and learning with me. And I'll try to do one more live some night this week. If you could just email me at, and I'm sorry it's such a long email, guys, crystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail.com. It's below in the thing. And tell me what nights are best for you to watch, because I'm kind of open, so I'd be glad to do all that with you.